I didn't believe in ghosts until one terrifying encounter in Sharjah made me question everything I thought I knew about the paranormal. Little did I know, my first real brush with the supernatural was only the beginning of a long, unsettling journey.
I'm going to write my first experience. Well, first I should tell you a bit about me. I am right now 14 and a half. We are Muslim and my family is very small. Like I have only one brother and he is 2 years younger than me. I won't tell real names of anyone, so yeah, nicknames. My brother's name is Nomi, my father is a civil engineer, and my mother is a housewife. Since I was small, around 6 to 7 years, I got scared a lot. My parents used to think that I was just a small kid, and most small kids get scared of the dark. Well, I was scared of the dark a lot. I used to imagine things in the dark, but there was nothing really there at the time. In 2009, we shifted to a big house located in Ras Al Khaimah State. Our house was on a hill, not too high like the mountains in California, but still quite an elevated area. We lived near a haunted castle. Yeah, castle. It was so beautiful. And the castle was similar to Cinderella's, though it wasn't as big. People would say it was haunted by a man, and since no one had gone in for so many years, other spirits also haunted it. The backstory of the man was like this. People say the man was an engineer who built that castle for his own family. But someone bothered him to sell it. The man rejected him, and then financial troubles followed. He became depressed and stressed, and one night, in his castle, something in his brain gave way, and he died on the spot. We lived in front of that castle, just 2 roads and a few villas, and then our villa. But the incident happened long ago. At first, we didn't believe much in paranormal activity, but my mother began to notice strange things. And eventually she started to believe, even though my father didn't. My mother would feel uneasy and see things out of the corner of her eye. As for me, I also felt something, but my parents didn't believe me. That house was so unlucky for us. We had a lot of problems there, not essential to mention. Then, my father went away for some work, and we didn't buy a new house. Instead, we stayed with my father's university friend, who was also away. He had a small family, a wife, and 2 sons. I first saw things there. This is where the experience begins. We moved to a house in Sharjah. One day, while my uncle's sons, Keys and Moomen, were at school, and my uncle's wife, T, was out, my mother was taking a bath, and I was swinging in the backyard with my brother Nomi. The yard had grass, flowers, vegetables, and a front yard with a trampoline and swing. He was pushing me on the swing. After some time, he got thirsty and went inside to get some water. I was sitting on the swing alone, waiting for him, when suddenly I felt a very bad push from behind. There was no wind at all, and it was really hot that day. I heard a scream, but it wasn't human or animal. It was something dark. Something that seemed to want me to fall and die. I didn't look behind me because my mother always told me not to look behind if no one was around. I looked to my left and saw a bird on the wall. Even the bird heard the noise, looked at my back, and flew away. I realized something was definitely there, so I screamed and put my hands over my ears and closed my eyes until someone came to help. At last, Nomi appeared at the door looking at me. Then my mother came too. I was just screaming, "Come here and take me! Come here and take me!" My mom asked. What happened? I told her I had been pushed by someone. My mom went to the door, looked outside, and stared at the tree. Then she sat beside me and said, "Don't go outside while it's afternoon, and don't stand under that tree when it's afternoon or evening, especially after the second last call to prayer." I agreed, and she told my aunt about it, who believed in these things. Days passed, and one night when we were settling into the guest room, the first room we stayed in, I told my mother that I didn't want to sleep in that room because it scared me. I didn't feel comfortable there. She asked me why, but I kept saying I didn't know. I just didn't like the room. There was something about that room, more than the house itself. It felt haunted. My mom agreed and promised to talk to my aunt the next day. That night I had to sleep there, but we soon moved to another room. One night, I couldn't sleep and got up. I looked out the window and saw a black figure crossing the backyard, heading somewhere. To my astonishment, it had no feet, and I couldn't see its head because it was covered by a hood, just like the shadowy figures in Harry Potter. I quickly ran back to bed and grabbed my mom tightly until I fell asleep. The next morning I told my mom, and once again, she told my aunt. This time, my aunt took us to see someone. He performed some rituals, and after that, he gave my mom a bottle of blessed water and told us to place it under a date tree at the beginning of each night. After that, things started to calm down. One night, while my aunt was out, my mother, brother, and my aunt's sons were talking in the lounge about paranormal experiences. Keys, the older brother, told us that when they had just moved into the house, he had been lying on his bunk bed, feeling as if someone was watching him. He looked toward the guest room door and saw the shadow of a black figure standing there, watching him. They later blessed the corners of the house with the water to keep spirits out. But that room still had a lingering, unsettling feeling. I was astonished to hear this and realized the paranormal activity didn't stop with us. After my father returned, we moved into a new house, but there was still something there. I had vivid dreams and saw things that didn't quite make sense, like shadows lurking in corners or whispers in the night. The house felt different, as if it was holding on to something from the past, something that refused to let go. Despite the newness of our surroundings, there was an unease in the air, a feeling that no amount of furniture or fresh paint could erase. I couldn't shake the sense that we weren't alone, that the house was keeping secrets, and with every passing day, the feeling grew stronger, as if whatever was there was watching, waiting.
I can't explain the things I saw and felt in that house. It was as if the very walls held the memories of a darker time. If you're ever in Sharjah, be careful where you stay. Some places are haunted by more than just the past.